It's a real privilege for us that we're inaugurating this series, lecture series in his name, and that Archbishop Tutu, you have so graciously accepted to be the first speaker of this series. Thank you so much.
Can you see me? Yeah. Thank you very, very much. Yes, I probably... No. I'll then look down on you. Very, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. There are some wonderful people in the room. Your Excellencies, ministers, the Prime Minister's spouse, some members of the diplomatic corps. Oh, yeah. Yes, I was wondering whether you're coming to clop me on the head. And especially, the South African High Commissioner. It's a very, very great privilege. And thank you, Yabaki, and your family for perhaps suggesting that I should come here and give the inaugural lecture. Thank you very, very much. One does it with a great deal of feeling. Yes, I was just going to say, that in the introduction they didn't do what frequently happens at occasions such as this one, where they say, oh, he is so well known, he doesn't really need introduction. And then they go and give a long. But I remember going to San Francisco, and I was walking in the road, minding my own business as I always do. And this lady came up, and she was quite effusive and warm, and she greeted me, "Hello, Archbishop Mandela." Sort of getting two for the price of one. It really is a very, very great privilege and honor to have been asked to give this inaugural lecture. I have had the highest possible regard for Lakshmi Jain, which is not unusual. I think your presence here is an indication of some of that regard. You could not but be favorably impressed with someone extraordinarily self-effacing, someone so gentle, so soft-spoken, who seems to do everything in his power to turn attention away from himself to others, even when they were clearly less deserving than himself. Actually, I met first not Lakshmi, but his very impressive, articulate spouse, Devaki. We were both of us serving on a United Nations Commission on the effects of armed conflict on children, a commission chaired by Gursharan Kaur, Mandela's wonderful spouse. Devaki is not one likely to be lost in a crowd. No, she stands out, self-assertive, in a nice kind of way. But you could never miss her. She doesn't disappear into the background. She is so wonderfully articulate and self-assertive. The meetings that we had of this commission happened in New York. So the next time I was to meet Devaki was when she came to South Africa as the spouse of the first Indian High Commissioner after our freedom, after our first democratic elections in April 1994. And that was when I met her dear love Lakshmi for the first time and was immediately struck, immediately impressed by this gentle, still person. Just permit me a small digression, but one that for me is important. It is a very great privilege to be giving this laudatory address to a great Indian. It gives me the opportunity of yet again expressing on behalf of millions and millions of my compatriots and on my own behalf our profound gratitude to you, people of India, for your distinguished part in our liberation. India, it was which first moved to have apartheid boycotted by the United Nations and to be declared a crime against humanity. So we owe our freedom in no small measure to yourselves. Thank you. Now that's really, if I have to say so, a rather lousy acknowledgement. Magic wand, and it has these extraordinary powers. Can you see it? Only the wise can see it. Now, when I wave it over you, it does this extraordinary thing of turning you into instant South Africans. So I waved it over you. And so I can now say, fellow South Africans, let's give these Indians a real humbling. Oh, by the way, let me wave my wand again over you, and you can return to your former side. But that is actually quite important, that you know this, that Nelson Mandela and others could walk out of prison doors because of what you started. So, thank you. To return to my story, my family and I were attracted to the Jains, and we have become very close friends. We have spent time with them when they still lived in Bangalore. And it afforded me the chance to study Lakshmi at close quarters in an intimate setting. Even in his own home, he remained the gentle, soft-spoken, kindly individual I thought he struck me as being. He came across, he was just so gentle and soft-spoken, as if he could hardly say boo to a goose. He had such a deep, profound respect. No, not respect. Reverence. A deep reverence for the other. My wife and I were so pleasantly impressed when Lakshmi and Vaki, as it were, adopted the daughter of their cook. As you know, they have a handsome twosome of sons, and the chef's daughter made up for the leg in the Jain home. It was something so beautiful to behold. She jumped on his lap, behaving for all the world as his daughter or grandchild. Her status as the cook's child was nullified. She was, first and foremost, a human being, deserving of the respect, the reverence due to all of us as an inalienable right. For the Jains, it was no mere theoretical proposition. They lived it out in their respect for all. I suppose we have to point out that Lakshmi was given his sister's name, who died in babyhood, and he was the consolation for the distraught parents after the loss of their baby daughter. And he seems to have inherited the attributes of the sister he came to replace. He was gentle, not weak, not supine. Already as a very young man, amazingly, he was appointed to head up a refugee camp. Incredible. For he was still very wet behind his ears, but quite wise beyond his years, and already demonstrated there his belief in the innate dignity of each person, and so treated the refugees with respect and expected that they had the sense of responsibility innate within them, and very much ahead of his times, treated them with respect for their dignity as human beings. They had fallen on rough days because of the partition and all that, but they were persons, not cases for sociologists, not sets of statistics, but persons with an innate, inalienable dignity that was not dependent on their external circumstances. And perhaps inside his gentle heart, he might have muttered, but for the grace of God, go I. This gentle person felt very strongly about freedom and Indian independence. And as his father's son, was intimately involved with the Quit India movement. Almost inevitably, he was influenced by that great soul, the Mahatma Gandhi, believing with every fiber of his being in non-violence and in the infinite worth of every human person. This explains his passion for improving the lot of the most disadvantaged, not as a matter of charity, but as a matter of their right to dignity and respect. It explains his passion for cooperatives, for handicrafts, for everything that would help in the struggle to eradicate poverty, with the participation of the poor, recognizing their inherent dignity and personhood. He was no starry-eyed, quixotic romantic. He was a clear-headed realist and believed that poverty could be eradicated with the participation of the poor in schemes, using their skills in producing. We're talking of someone who was thought quite highly of internationally. Because, as you know, he became a member of the United Nations World Dam Commission. Now, they don't just appoint any Tom, Dick, and Harry to commissions of that kind. And he served as Secretary of the Indian Cooperative Union and the All India Handicrafts Board. We have not really taken seriously his counsel that poor people don't really want handouts. But as somebody said, yes, they do want a handout. Most poor people I know, and I don't come myself from a wealthy family, most of those we designate as poor are proud. Are proud too. And don't want to be regarded as objects of pity. They want to escape the shackles of indigence. They want to be treated as persons with a proper pride, a dignity, a capacity to think for themselves, able to cooperate with those who want to improve their lot. We in our country have won a great prize in our political freedom. As I indicated, assisted by the international community, egged on by itself. But it will be a precarious political freedom. At very great risk if we do not do something drastic and quickly to narrow the gap between the poor and the rich, between the haves and the have-nots. Now that is a description that would fit any and every situation. You here are a fantastic emerging economy. And I have to say, it shows in the efforts that you have. The last time I came here, it was something of an apology. Now, it's something about which you can justly be proud. You are doing fantastically well. But dear friends, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. Which is why I'm using our country as an example. We have made tremendous strides in so many areas. It's fantastic, you know. In Cape Town we live not very far from a high school which before 1994 admitted only white pupils. Today, you know, you can often just stand there and watch as you see the demography of South Africa spread on the playing fields of this high school. You walk and you see couples under the apartheid dispensation. Police used to climb trees to peek into bedrooms to check whether black and white were in bed together. And today, you see mixed couples pushing a pram with a baby of undetermined hue inside. And so far as I can make out, the sky is still in place. We do things that were said to be illegal, impossible. Yes. We have come a very long way. But all of that is a great risk. If we do not, in our country, narrow the gap between the poor and the rich, between the haves and the have-nots, yeah, it could all go up in flames. For it is a time bomb ready to explode at any time. And we have the sad distinction of having the widest gap on the globe between rich and poor. can't be good for the poor. It can't be good for the rich. We have a beautiful country. We have beautiful people of all races, fantastic human beings. And yet, it is all a great risk. It can all go up in flames. We must recognize the poor amongst us as our sisters and brothers, as members of our family. You probably have heard of this thing that we have at home. Ubuntu, the essence of being human. We say a person is a person from other persons. That none of us could ever be utterly self-sufficient. For the totally self-sufficient is subhuman. The poor amongst us are our sisters and brothers, not figuratively, but in the most real sense, that we belong in one family, God's family, the human family. And if we do not give those who are poor amongst us a leg up, they will, as sure as anything, bring the whole edifice tumbling down. It is in the best interests of all if we can ensure that all have a decent standard, not as an act of charity, but as that of the best possible social existence. I'm not telling you anything you do not know. And we look to you who have produced so many giants. Who may physically have been minute, but morally stood out. What does Mandela say? Persistent, gentle, moral giant who cares for the little people. We have a choice. To paraphrase Martin Luther King Jr., another staunch disciple of Gandhi, we have a choice. We can live, we can choose to live together as brothers and sisters, or perish together as fools. Lakshmi would say, of course, it is obvious. Let us prosper together as members of one family, sisters and brothers of God's family, where there are no outsiders. All incredible embrace that will not let anyone
Desmond, Leah, distinguished dignitaries and friends, I feel honored in so many ways today. Honored to be on the stage with Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Honored to welcome and have with us Mrs. Leah Tutu, and honored to be given the privilege of proposing a vote of thanks to him. And to all of you who have gathered here, and the many friends and organizations which have brought us all together today. The presence of so many of you at the first inaugural lecture is indeed heartwarming. I would like to go back for a minute to remember my father and mother, who during their stay in South Africa, where my father was High Commissioner in the year 1997, established such deep friendships, such as the one with the Tutu family and others in South Africa. Though more than 15 years have passed since they left South Africa, Desmond, Leah, and their family continue to connect with us, visit us, respond to our requests, and most of all, love us. The principal architects of this first in the series of memorial lectures in honor of my father, LC Jain, is Janagraha, which shows the love and respect that Ramesh and Swati held for my father. How to thank you, dear Swati and Ramesh. Captain Nair and Vivek and their family have always been close friends of my father, visited him in South Africa, and shared their extraordinary network of hotels and affection with many events associated with my father, and are now hosting Desmond Tutu and his family. Our affectionate regards to their family. Industrial Development Services, a consultancy organization founded by my father, and which, as he used to say jokingly, provided the bread and butter for all of us, his family, continues to keep his flame alive and have been active supporters of this event. ActionAid India, of which my father was the chairman, was also been most helpful in organizing this event. Our appreciation and gratitude to R.K. Gupta, the Managing Director of IDS, and the Sandeep Chatra of ActionAid India. We also acknowledge the presence of Gursharan Kaur and Laila and other trustees of the Commitment to Kashmir, an initiative inspired by my father and taken forward by them to enable a new generation of Kashmiri men and women to become craft entrepreneurs. We are also grateful to the Book Review Literary Trust, represented by Chandra Chari, for enabling the publication of my father's memoirs and continuing to support events in his memory. My mother Devki, my brother Srinivasan, and my wife Smriti thank all our friends and institutions, and most of all of you who've come here on this occasion. This is the first of the memorial lectures instituted by Swati and Ramesh Ramanathan of Janagraha. It is a blessing and an honor that Desmond Tutu has inaugurated the series. I'm sure my father has heard every word of what Desmond said. Thank you very much.